What's up, LEGO fans? Welcome to my channel, Pete's Bricks, the LEGO channel for the common LEGO fan. And today we are going to take a nostalgic trip to the past to check out some of my favorite LEGO Star Wars books from my childhood. If you recognize these book covers, odds are that you also grew up with them just like I did. And this video will probably be pretty nostalgic for you. Or maybe you are a newer LEGO Star Wars fan. I still hope this video is entertaining for you as you get to see some older LEGO books with older LEGO content that the newer ones just don't have anymore. With that being said, we're going to be skimming through every single one of these LEGO Star Wars books that I have. Of course, we won't be going through every single page, but we'll be going through some of my favorite pages, some of my favorite features. So without further ado, let's get right into this video, starting with the first LEGO Star Wars Visual Dictionary. Okay, so this right here is the first LEGO Star Wars Visual Dictionary. It came with one exclusive minifigure, which was the Celebration Luke, as seen in Episode 4. It was from the scene at the end at the Yavin 4 Rebel base. It's pretty funny that we're actually getting a new version of this exclusive minifigure for the first time ever in a normal LEGO Star Wars set, coming in the very soon to be released LEGO Star Wars Yavin Rebel Base. We'll talk about the Rebel Base more, especially when we get to the end of the Visual Dictionary, but let's just start by cracking this thing open. It looks a lot thicker than it actually is because of the whole thickness here of this box that you need in order to get the minifigure in there. As a kid, I remember this being huge, but I'm actually pretty surprised at how thin this actually is. Though you do have to keep in mind that this book only goes up to 2009, so it has every single LEGO set ever made, every single LEGO Star Wars LEGO set ever made, going from the year, I believe, 1999. Yes, as you can see, 1999 is when LEGO Star Wars began. Then we go all the way to 2000 and see, going through all the years, 2003, 2005, 2009. So this goes up to 2009. Today we are in 2023. So that is what? Let's see if I can do math. What, 10, 13, 14 years later. So this book is outdated by about 14 years. This is still what I grew up with. Here we go, chapter 1. This is the movie saga. Here we have some what are these called? ATTEs? No, ATTP. Let me know in the comments what exactly this walker is. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, but even I get the walkers mixed up. I'll be kind of moving this up to get rid of the glare for you guys. There we have some spider droids, some of these Hellfire droids, and this really cool battle scene with different shock troopers and droids. Super cool little image right there, kind of like a poster. The way that these LEGO sets are arranged are not by date, so it's not by 1999 to 2009, it's by movie. So right here we are in episode 1. You can see yellow-skinned Anakin Skywalker and Padme, the Coruscant airspeeder. That's a set that I've always wanted as a kid. So a lot of these early LEGO sets, I was an infant, so I wasn't aware of LEGO. I think I got my first LEGO set in the year 2006, I want to say. Ooh, that's a really cool one. The Jedi Interceptor. That's one I vividly remember seeing in Target. I never got it because it was pretty expensive. We don't have prices here, but you can see it's from the year 2007. From episode 3, and it had 575 pieces. Moving along, I remember this from the beginning of the LEGO Star Wars Complete Saga. It exploded. This is a set that is often forgotten by LEGO fans, I feel. I vividly remember it from that game. If books like this really made me a LEGO Star Wars fan, the video games played a huge part in my childhood as well. And how can we forget Jedi Bob? I always wanted Jedi Bob. I believe he came out in the year 2002, so I was probably like 2 years old. So moving on, we have some Sith. We have Darth Maul, Count Dooku. I do believe I have this Sith Infiltrator. Yes, came out in the year 2007, so it does make sense that I would have this early Darth Maul set. You know, while today we have much more sophisticated LEGO Star Wars minifigures and design and sets, I always thought there was a certain charm to these early figures. You have the Watto, who's just a single color, no printing whatsoever, long legs, which is kind of inaccurate. I guess today they use the short legs for Watto. We have Aldar Beto, who is just this single mold. He looks super, what's the word? Archaic, I want to say. Not archaic, vintage. I'll say vintage. He looks very vintage. LEGO would not do this today. Today they would make him a minifigure with a special molded head or just a special mold overall. It's been a long time since we've had any pod racing sets. Here we have the Naboo and Gungans. I still wish they would redo these creatures. What are they called here? They are the Kadu. I want them to do new Kadu, new Gungan stuff, new episode 1 stuff. I grew up with the prequels, so I love episode 1, 2, and 3. Don't really care what the adults have to say about that. Right here we have some super rare battle droids in sand red. I don't believe sand red exists anymore as a LEGO color. I could be wrong, so check me in the comments, but at least I haven't seen sand red in a long time. And I know these figures, these droids, are super rare. So right here we have a bounty hunter section. You got your Jango Fett, your Zam Wessel or Weasel, a very cool speeder right here. You got your Slave 1, your Jango Fett Slave 1, your Boba Fett Slave 1. This right here, this MTT, this is a set I actually have, but it's been in disrepair for a number of years. Part of it has been broken off and lost in my collection. I really need to go through all my parts and just refurbish this and bring it back to life, because this is this is the best LEGO MTT they have ever made. And as you can see, it came out in the year 2007, and in my opinion, it still holds up. We're gonna start moving a bit faster through these pages. Clone Troopers. Clone Troopers are my favorite thing in LEGO. Just check out these older ones where they used a black head underneath the helmet so that would show through the visor. Today, of course, the clones look a lot more detailed and a lot more accurate. They have more of an accurate flesh-colored head. Check out that video, I will link it above, of me going through every modern clone trooper ever. There we have the Celebration Luke I was talking about right there. Very simplistic compared today. You'll see in the new set he's getting an actual molded medal around his chest. The old version just had it printed, but of course at the time, 2009, I was more than happy to add this to my collection. Right there we have the old sand crawler. It doesn't look as good as the last UCS one, but just the colors, right? The little pops of that dark orange with the brown, the gray, the white, it just gives it this LEGO charm, which I will talk about more, especially when we get to the minifigures in the Minifigure Encyclopedia. Here's some more Han Solo stuff. The original Cantina, which is super tiny, especially compared to the UCS Cantina. Well, there's the UCS Falcon. This was the biggest LEGO Star Wars set at the time. Of course, since then we've gotten a new version of the UCS Falcon for $800, which is insane. There's Emperor Palpatine, some Imperial stuff, Darth Vader, the Rogue Shadow. This is a set that I regret not getting. This is from 2008, so I was about 8 or 9 years old. Very cool. I always like it when LEGO does video game based stuff. It's so confusing that they don't do sets on the newer video game stuff while they did Force Unleashed, which in my opinion was a lot more violent than the newer stuff. There you get Star Killer, Juno Eclipse, Battle Damage Darth Vader, super cool minifigure. Here is the original Death Star. This was a set that I always wanted as a kid. Of course, I never got it. It was $400 at the time, so a lot more in today's money. When they remade it, for $500, I didn't get it, the new version, but I remember just looking at this for hours, just dreaming like, oh man, I would love to have the original Death Star. It even came with a miniature TIE Advance for Darth Vader that fit in the hangar, which, oh, it's right there is this small hangar. Here we have some walkers, some various Imperial stuff, the old TIE fighters with the old blue and black color scheme. Again, today LEGO does these in light bluish gray, black and dark gray, which are much more accurate to the source material, but the blue, it just gives it this charm. It gives it a charm that, in my opinion, a lot of the recent Star Wars stuff just doesn't really have. Here we have an older Star Destroyer. I never had this set, but one of my friends as a kid did have this set, which was super cool. I got to see that when I went over to his house. Here we have the original Cloud City, super rare. One of the most rare and expensive LEGO Star Wars sets you will find in this dictionary. It came with that Cloud City Boba Fett, who is super valuable just on his own for the arm printing that he has right there. You get a bunch of figures. You get Lando, a cloud car, an entire platform on the back, which you can see right down there. Super cool set. The Tantive 4 I actually have. I have the original. I have the original minifigure scale version. They have that newer one that came out a number of years ago. I really didn't see the need to get it since I have this one. I got this for my birthday one year. Let's see, 2009. So I guess when I was 9 or 10, I got this for my birthday. At the time, this was super expensive. I don't remember how much it was, but I remember as a kid opening this set and hyperventilating that I got the biggest LEGO Star Wars set in my collection at the time. We got some more Rebel stuff. We have Hoth, a lot of snow speeders. Since then, LEGO has made many snow speeders. I think snow speeders are one of the most repeated LEGO Star Wars sets of all time. We got Jabba's Palace, Jabba's Sail Barge, some Ewok stuff. As you can see, we're moving into Episode 6 territory and the Clone Wars. Clone Wars is my favorite era of Star Wars. Just check out all the cool minifigures. From Count Dooku, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, Ventress, even Newt Gunray and Senator Farr are very cool and unique. Personally, I never minded the kind of cartoonish appearances that they got. As a kid, they were just minifigures to have fun with and to play with, which is what LEGO really is intended for. So I guess this is all the Clone Wars stuff. LEGO would go on to make a lot more of this. We might see some more in the expanded edition of the Visual Dictionary, which we will look at pretty soon. Here we have some specialist sets, or the Technic sets. I don't own, there's some little miniature polybags, Master Builder models. Here we have the Technic sets. I don't own any of these. I have seen a few of them at Bricks and Minifig stores. They were pretty expensive, so I just didn't buy any. Of all of these, I think I would like to have the Pit Droid because it's a smaller one, which means it would be a bit more affordable and feasible for me to buy. He actually features a pretty cool play feature where you kind of bunch him up into a ball, you press the nose and he pops up. The rubber bands that he came with are probably disintegrated, so I would just have to get some new rubber bands to make sure this play feature runs smoothly. There you get your R2-D2, your Darth Vader. For what they were, I think these are pretty creative and pretty great LEGO Technic sets. Here we move into the collector sets, or UCS sets. There you have the UCS Tantive 4, the Darth Maul bust. I wish they would make a new one of these. Darth Maul is my favorite Sith, probably next to Darth Vader. He's just so cool looking. I wish they do a new one. Here's some more vehicles, your Death Star, your Star Destroyer. A General Grievous would also be a really cool remake if they could do that. Now, right here is my favorite part of the entire book. This is not repeated in the sequel of the book. I think they updated it. Of course, we'll see in a few minutes if they did or not. But just looking at some of this concept art, right? The Kit Fisto head, Chief Tarful, Admiral Akbar, these are all like basically works of art, sculptures, molds that they use to get the mold for the actual LEGO figure. Right there you have a concept version for Watto. As I talked about him earlier, that is the final version, but the first version, surprisingly, was actually a whole mold for the entire figure, which I think is really cool. Here you can see all the Star Wars minifigures from the beginning to 2009. At the time. Of course, what did I say? It's been 14 years, so a lot more minifigures. I would say triple this exists today. The very rare George Lucas minifigure. Concept models. Yeah, this is my favorite section. Right there is the original unreleased Yavin 4. Back then, prior to 2009, the LEGO Group was coming up with concept models for a Yavin 4 Rebel base. Even though this book was produced and it was widely available, a lot of the images that you'll see here, I had a very hard time finding online. It's actually pretty fun to take a look at the 2023 version that is coming soon. Take a look at this, see if there are any similarities, differences. The new one comes with a small Y-wing, while the old one came with a small X-wing and a whole base plate underneath. Here you have some merchandising. I actually completely forgot about these. I thought these were those small Hallmark ornaments that they made. I actually have a few of those, but these were created by Gentle Giant Studios. Gentle Giant makes the giant action figures, so the fact that they made some LEGO Star Wars ones makes me want to go see if these are on eBay. I'm sure they're probably $1,000 or something crazy, so I probably won't be getting them, but still, these pages offer just some interesting LEGO Star Wars products that you just might not know about. You got keychains, watches. I remember seeing these pens, though this is not a full minifigure, this is like a smaller figure. Here you have some really cool LEGO MOCs. I used to stare at these images for, as I said, hours. Maybe not hours, but long periods of time. Check out that epic Han Solo and Carbonite. Or what about that massive Mos Eisley? You got the cantina, you got different buildings here. This literally blew my mind. You know, at the time, I didn't know about LEGO conventions. Before we get into the updated and expanded visual dictionary, let's check out the LEGO Star Wars Character Encyclopedia, the first original version. Moving on, we have the LEGO Star Wars Character Encyclopedia. I'm not going to take that much time with this. I think I already did that with the previous book, a little too much, but here you can see just a ton of minifigures. There you have a really classic Yoda, a little more modern Darth Maul that was not featured in the last book. So this book was from 2011. So 2 more years since the last book. 2 more years really did a lot. You can see your classic variants up here. Here we got Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan. So these minifigures are all sorted by movies. You can see, you know, she's in episode 1. Jar Jar appears in 1, 2, 3 and the Clone Wars. You got R2, Anakin, Sebulba, Watto. So this would be the next evolution of Watto. He has that specially molded top, tiny legs, very nice printing. It really came a long way from that classic blue Watto as shown right above this minifigure. There you got Sebulba, the really weird one that we saw before. I wish they'd remake some of these pod racing sets. It's been a while. There we have the classic old Yoda. Again, I remember him from the LEGO Star Wars video game. He pilots that red ship that we looked at just earlier. There we have another Gungan, some droids. There we have Captain Panka, Panka. However you say his name. Really nice hat with the gold. Old Count Dooku. You might look at some of these older minifigures like the yellow-skinned Anakin and Obi-Wan and think that they're pretty old looking, right? Modern minifigures are way more detailed, way more accurate, but when I look at these figures, I think LEGO Star Wars. They have very simple prints with the black eyes and the black smile, no pupils in the eye, classic LEGO hairs. We have that classic piece for the guy and the kind of classic long hair piece. These just really give me LEGO Star Wars vibes, very nostalgic. I look at some of the modern figures, yes, they are technically better, but to me, the modern stuff just feels more like Star Wars LEGO, where these are LEGO Star Wars. Let me know in the comments if that makes any sense and you agree with me, but it's just that classic LEGO vibe that I kind of miss. There we have that Jango Fett, which I think I already mentioned. I got to see at a Bricks and Minifig store for $700. I won't be purchasing that anytime soon. Tusken Raiders, Jedi Bob, all sorts of different minifigures. Let's kind of go through this a little bit quicker. Geonosians, big difference here. Here is the classic Episode 2 Geonosian Warrior. Here is the Clone Wars version. This one was in the video game, so I kind of like it more, but to me, this just looks a lot better. A lot more creepy. I mean, just look at those teeth. Look at those chompers he got there. You got Obi-Wan, General Grievous, Anakin. Kit Fisto has not been updated since this. I really want them to do a new Kit Fisto, hopefully soon. Captain Jag, Chief Tarful, Chief Tarful, and they have remade him since he's not in this version of the book because it's pretty old. Yeah, just all the minifigures are just so fun to look at. There we have the old Owen Lars, or the only Owen Lars, or have they remade him? Yes, they have, in the UCS Sandcrawler that they made since then. Han Solo, Greedo with the printed arms. Even the newest Greedo that came in the UCS Cantina does not have printed arms, while the really old one from, when is this from? 2003 has printed arms, which just seems very bizarre to me. LEGO just does some weird stuff sometimes. Bunch of Rebel pilots, the Celebration Luke that we already talked about, Princess Leia, Luke, some Imperial troopers. Oh, there we have Lando, super cool minifigure. Lando, a Lobot, really like him because he does have that printing on the back of the head from the original Cloud City. The older version of Jabba the Hutt. Of course, still we don't have the newer one, which is the one that I have. I don't have the classic Jabba. Moving on, we have Slave Leia, or what do they call her? Demure Princess Leia. What is a demure? I have no idea. There they call her a yellow slave, so you can see that there. They have remade this minifigure, though with Disney kind of banning all action figures of her. I'm not sure if we'll be getting a new one. I do have one of this old version, though I do not have the updated newer version since then. There we have Luke, Royal Guards. Let's go through this a little faster. Lando, Mon Calamari. He only came in the Home 1 sets. All sorts of different minifigures are in here. Moving into the Clone Wars. Again, people say this is creepy. I say this is my childhood. This is fun. It's become kind of a trend just to dunk on old Star Wars characters, old Clone Wars characters. Just say that they look weird, that the clones look weird, that Yoda looks cartoony. I mean, of course he does. It's based off of the cartoon. I had fun with these. I still have fun with these. The Clone Wars gave us figures that we've never gotten before, like the Bounty Hunter Aura Singh. This figure I think looks fine and mixes perfectly with other LEGO minifigures who aren't Clone Wars styled. There's Palpatine, who does look very creepy, I will admit, though I would say that he is supposed to because he's Palpatine. He is the most evil guy in all of Star Wars. You got Eth Koth, Quinlan Vos, Ambo, one of my favorite Star Wars bounty hunters ever. Shock T, never made before in any other style. This is the only minifigure of her ever made, which I do have in my collection, though her headpiece is looking a little worn. I might have to get a replacement. The Tactical Droid, one of my favorite droid minifigures, super rare, only came in one set. There is Savage Opress, another fantastic Clone Wars minifigure. Mandalorians, there we have some Force Unleashed minifigures that I talked about before. There are so many cool minifigures in here. Let me know, are there any figures that stood out to you in this Star Wars encyclopedia? Of course, I had to mention the exclusive figure for this was Celebration Han Solo, which pairs perfectly with the Celebration Luke. While the updated and expanded visual dictionary does share many similarities with the first version, I think it's important to check out some of the differences, especially in the later chapters of this book. Here we have the updated visual dictionary. As you can see, it has a pretty cool shiny finish on the front. You got a vintage Luke Skywalker. So this is the old classic yellow-skinned Luke, just reprinted. I really like this. It's very, very nice. It's basically a reproduction. 2009 is when it ended last time. So in this version, we go all the way to 2014. So that's a pretty good jump with a lot more LEGO Star Wars sets. We'll be going through this a bit quicker, of course, because a lot of these things we have already seen. This page is almost similar to the last page, We got your updated Jedi Starfighter, your updated Anakin with the dark brown hair, the Twilight from the Clone Wars. Move on to Obi-Wan Kenobi. A lot of Jedi Starfighters. I love Jedi Starfighters. I have Plo Koon's is a standout. I love the color scheme of the blue and white. That's super cool. We got some Sith action going on here. Darth Maul with the robot legs, Savage, shirtless Darth Maul, which I do have. Got some Clone Wars vehicles. I really like the Republic frigate, one of my favorite Clone Wars sets. It came with Eve Koth, Yoda, and Commander Wolffe, along with a few other clones. Here we have one of the most sought after LEGO Star Wars sets. This is from the year 2013. I actually do have this. They're coming with a new gunship in 2023, though it is not going to be the episode 2 look. I think it's going to be more Clone Wars based, which is perfect for me since I have this one. But for a lot of other LEGO fans who don't, I can see why it's kind of disappointing. Here we have a bunch of clones, love clones, Phase 2 Rex, Commander Cody, very, very cool. Separatist droids, all sorts of different stuff right here. Droidicas, spider droids, the Hailfire droid. My favorite LEGO Star Wars Separatist set has got to be the Malevolence from Season 1 of the Clone Wars. I think LEGO did a great job of creating a very cool, massive capital ship. It is actually the only Separatist capital ship ever made. They haven't even made the Invisible Hand from Episode 3. Here we have some Geonosians with Poggle the Lesser, super cool minifigure. Mandalorian stuff, Gungan stuff. Now we're moving into bounty hunters with different bounty hunter vehicles like the Star Hopper or Hondo Inaka's pirate tank. Palpatine's Arrest, another iconic LEGO Star Wars set. One that when I knew it came out, I just had to get it. This one is from 2012. Here we have some Wookiee stuff. I always wanted the Wookiee stuff. I hope that LEGO comes out with some new stuff, as they haven't since these released in 2005. The Wookiee Catamaran. Here we have another Wookiee. I don't know how you pronounce that. Ornithopter? It's like a helicopter, basically. There's the updated Chief Tarful I was talking about. And here we are into the original trilogy and the expanded universe with a very nice display of some classic LEGO Endor scene. Here we have Luke Skywalker in his Star Hopper, his X-Wing, Yoda in Yoda's hut, the Millennium Falcon, the 2014 version of the Cantina, which is better than the 2002 version, though the UCS one is by far the best Cantina ever made, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to top that anytime soon. Moving along, we got some more Darth Vader stuff, some Emperor stuff, the Death Star, Imperial ships, the classic blue with the more modern gray. You can really see that contrast there between classic LEGO and more modern LEGO Star Wars. Star Destroyers, another look at Cloud City, Rebel stuff, Hoth. Feel free to pause the video, I'm going kind of fast now. Jabba's Palace, I have this set, fantastic set. Rumors are they're coming with the new Jabba's Palace, though I'm not sure if that's actually going to come true. That's why on my channel I don't cover LEGO rumors, because most of the time fans click on it. Sure, I might get views for the time, but when they don't come true, in my opinion, it just leaves kind of a bad taste in LEGO fans' mouth, and it's just not worth covering. Here we have the Microfighters, which have long since been retired. I really like them. I think they're pretty cool. You got some pretty cool minifigures for what they were. Again, some more miniatures, the Technic stuff. This is like the exact same page as before. So is this one. Some newer stuff here, like the updated X-Wing, and we just got another updated UCS X-Wing, which is available right now. Some of the advent calendars, and here, again, my favorite part, you get to see some actual LEGO Star Wars designers, you know, in the process, designing concept molds, concept models, sketch models. Check this out. This is from the Clone Wars. I vividly remember This is from the arc where they go to the planet Felucia, I'm pretty sure. And that is the big decimator cannon on top that fires the big fire blasts. It's just cool to see sets that we got and sets that we didn't get and what could have been. Right there looks to be some sort of strange buildable figure, some like rebel pilot. Maybe just, a designer threw that together for fun. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was actually planned. There you have a bunch of different iterations of the Sandcrawler. So cool to remember that LEGO designers don't just build something once and put that into production. They make tons of different sketch models before they actually make anything. Another really cool concept model of a prototype, what is this, a self-propelled heavy artillery SPHA Walker. I don't really see any legs. I guess there are little legs under there. Another cool mold of a Gamorrean guard. Just really cool stuff. Again, some more rare stuff that we covered in the last video. Again, there's some of the magnets. We have watches, key lights, the same mocks that we saw before with a couple new ones thrown in there just to spice things up a bit. We do get 2 pages dedicated to some animated media like TV specials and video games. I grew up with these, huge part of my childhood, and I'm sure they're also a huge part of your childhood as well. There's LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars, really like that game, as well as the classics like the video game and the complete saga. Finally, at the end, we have the minifigure gallery with every single minifigure. It's just so cool to see all the different iterations of some of the same characters. There we got 2 Ahsokas, of course. Since then, we have a 3rd Clone Wars Ahsoka. Got your Lukes, your Jedi, your bounty hunters, your Sith, your rogues and villains, your aliens, and all sorts of different stuff. I'm sure this video is already way too long, so here's a quick look at some other books. This is the Yoda Chronicles, and this is the Dark Side. These books are meant to be paired together. The Yoda Chronicles shows more light side stuff, so you get emphasis on characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, Ahsoka, all the different Clone Wars Jedi. You get a little bounty hunters action back here, plenty on the clone troopers, mainly light side stuff as I said. You do get 1 exclusive minifigure, which is super cool. It is the Special Forces Commander, but the fact that this minifigure isn't canon and hasn't appeared in any official Star Wars media is what makes him especially collectible and especially unique. Right here in LEGO Star Wars The Dark Side, we have an emphasis on, well, the dark side. So you get all sorts of different Sith, from Darth Vader to Ventress to even Pong Krell from the Clone Wars. You get some pretty cool illustrations in here. This is like half Anakin, half Vader, along with some various LEGO sets, planets. You do get some heroes mixed in here, just like you had a few villains mixed into the Yoda Chronicles book. In the front, you did get an exclusive minifigure of Emperor Palpatine. This is a very rare minifigure and a hard minifigure to discern from the normal Palpatine. He did have different colored teeth. That is the only thing that makes him exclusive to this set. This here is the second to last book we'll look at. It has a lot of LEGO pieces in there. You can still hear them. I left them in there because this is a book I'm going to talk briefly about right now, where it comes with all these different parts where you could build these little miniature mini models, almost like polybag level builds. Here you have this Republic shuttle. There you have a tank. Instead of showing you this on the camera, I'll just show you right here. There are some alternate builds. So you could build, either both of these at the same time, or you take that apart. You could build these, all kind of just small ships, small speeders. I left the parts in here in case I wanted to build some of those. Maybe I'll make a separate video of myself checking out this book in more detail. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I had a lot of fun just going through these pages, reminiscing over these old LEGO books that I spent countless hours reading as a kid. For some reason, as a kid, I never got bored doing the same things over and over. Like now, if I bought one of these books for fun, well, first of all, these are intended for kids. Would I get the same enjoyment now from these new books as I would back then? Probably not. Now we have the internet like Brickset, where I can look up any LEGO set from the past. I feel like I can look at the minifigures, the product description, get all the information I need just on my computer. And because sites like those are being constantly updated, brand new LEGO sets are constantly coming out, they would have to come out with a new edition of one of these visual dictionaries like every month or two just to keep up with the new stuff. And solely using these books as reference for minifigures and sets just really isn't that practical, mainly because it's just so hard to keep up with everything that LEGO has been releasing. While I probably won't be getting any new editions of these books I'm always going to keep in my collection. To me, these books have just as much value as old LEGO sets that I have childhood memories playing with and having adventures with. I have so many memories of just looking at these books, spending hours rereading them and reading them, and just imagining having all these different sets from the past and the present. These books were just super fun and super impactful in my life as a LEGO fan. I would love to hear your comments in this video especially. I'd love to hear your childhood stories. Did you grow up with any of the books that we looked at? Were there any books that I don't have that you have that you'd like to tell me about? Please let me know in the comments. I will read and respond to every single comment. With that being said, keep building, have a good day, God bless, and I will see you all on my channel, Pete's Bricks, in the next LEGO video.